Haleakala National Park is actually really unique compared to even other islands in Hawaii. You have this cone-shaped volcano that is 10,000 feet tall that's very exposed to different weather patterns. So you have a really wet side, then you have really dry sides.
There are very unique species here that can be found nowhere else on the planet.
Native plants and animals first arrived to the Hawaiian Islands through the wind, on the water, or on the wings of animals. And they were able to evolve here without the threats that we see today.
Well, here in Hawaii, invasives is probably the driving force in maintaining the integrity of the natural environment. There's enormous challenges.
Haleakala is home to many, many endangered species, and sometimes these species are confined to one small gulch right here in our shrubland and nowhere else in the world.
We estimate that there's around 90 new invasive species introduced to the Hawaiian Islands every year.
And these species have impacted the island's natural resources in different ways. You know, for these unique ecosystems, they are rather vulnerable.
Inventory and monitoring, we're going out into these areas and looking at what resources, what plants, what animals exist in these parks. Over time we go back with monitoring and we're looking at changes over time.
The plant monitoring that we do is called the Focal Terrestrial Plant Community Plots. So with these plots, especially with the fixed plots, we're going in and getting the baseline data the first year, and then it's read every 5 years after that. And so within 5 years in the same plot, you can see if density of a certain species has changed, if there's been an introduction of a new species to that plot, if a species is gone missing, if there's any type of substrate damage, so we could see that. So we do photo monitoring at our plots where we take photos at photo points, and then 5 years later we go back and take those exact same photo points, and it's very helpful for us to compare these images.
This is the telegraph plant. It's not native to Hawaii, and it's actually quite invasive in the subalpine shrubland.
Often we do in our plots identify new invasive species, and it's very important to park managers to find this out, and we report it almost immediately. Alele Stream at Haleakala National Park, the Kipahulu district. This stream hosts all of the native species that exist in Hawaiian streams are in this one stream in the park. We do snorkel surveys for everything that is living in the stream, the fish, the shrimp, the snails, native versus non-native, because we want to be able to detect if a non-native comes in. Right now we're really lucky, we don't have any non-native fish. But if we were to detect that, we could tell the park immediately, and hopefully they could do something about it before it gets out of hand. We're also doing water quality monitoring, which means we're taking water samples and testing them for nutrients such as nitrates and phosphates. And then we're also using a water quality monitoring device which does things like temperature, pH, chlorophyll, which is the plant matter, turbidity, which is how clear the water is, and dissolved oxygen. Well, I think, to connect it all, this is a really important concept. In Hawaii is the Mauka to Makai concept, the mountain to the ocean, and the streams are the connection to it all. The streams come from the top of the mountains all the way down to the ocean. So they're like the veins of our island, if you will.
Kumu Lipo. It's the interrelationship of the species of animals, plants that reside in the mountains, and also the relationship of those species to the ocean species of plants, animals that is on the shoreline and into the ocean itself. There is that connection. We see changes every day in our environments, in this park itself. Inspecting and looking at things, monitoring it, how things are doing, as well as their well-being, is important.
One of our roles here at the National Park Service is to maintain the resources and be stewards of the environment, to maintain the integrity of that for current and future generations of Americans.
We want to know when there's a new invasive species that is introduced to our park. And inventory and monitoring can provide that to us. They've been out there in the field a lot of times in areas that not a lot of people get to go to.
The data collected by the I&M field efforts is very important to us as managers of the natural habitats and resources here. It helps provide us with real, reliable data so that we can focus our efforts, our management work, on those resources that are most in need of attention.